What's up everyone? My name is Yesti Valletta and I am a senior at Molokaʻi High School. I have lived here in Molokaʻi all my life and I really like to take pictures and listen to music. And I am an intern for a non-profit organization called Learning Endeavors and the champion of Coastal Resilience Program. Our visit to the windswept northern coastline was an adventure of sights and dramatic scenery. We visited the Moʻomomi Preserve, a mile-long coastal dune ecosystem that was made into a preserve. The Moʻomomi Preserve is 921 acres and a dramatic place of rough surf, wide sand dunes, rock formations, and rare native plants. It provides a coastal dune ecosystem that is unique. My guide on this rugged adventure is Auntie Vailana Moses, Field Coordinator of the Nature Conservancy of Molokaʻi.
Hi, Auntie Vailana.
Hey Yesli, how you doing?
Doing good.
Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, of course.
Welcome to
really
Moʻomomi Preserve. Well, we got a lot to look at. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
I learned that Molokaʻi was the first island in Hawaii to have land preserved by the Nature Conservancy. First, they bought and protected the Kamako Forest Preserve in 1982, protecting the mountainous watersheds on the top of Molokaʻi. In 1988, they purchased the coastal dune area of Moʻomomi from Molokaʻi Ranch, protecting this special coastline from development. Today is April 10th, 2021, and we are driving down the rough dirt road to the Moʻomomi Preserve. There are lots of fences and locked gates that help keep out the deer from this preserve. Remember, the deer eat the plants and damage the ecosystem, so keeping them out with fences and gates is essential to keeping Moʻomomi healthy. I'm excited to learn about the conservation practices that the Nature Conservancy is doing and about the coastline of the area. This area is in the ahupua'a called Kalua Ko'i, which translates into the adze pit, because a high-quality stone was traditionally quarried in this part of Molokaʻi to be made into adze and other stone tools. There is an almost constant northeast trade wind that blows the golden-colored sand into dunes and beyond, right over the northwest corner of Molokaʻi. The area has earned the name Kionalele, or the Flying Sand. The compass points of this site are 21 degrees, 12 minutes, and 2 seconds north, and 157 degrees, 9 minutes, 27 seconds west. We take some time to kilo, make observations, when we arrive. There is much to see and different areas to observe, so this took a few minutes. I noticed that the clouds are beautiful. 50% cloud coverage, no precipitation, light winds 8 to 10 miles per hour, and the day was warm but not too hot. I could immediately tell the tide was low because there were exposed rocks with limu growing on them, and I could see opihi clinging to the rocks as well. One reason we have come to Moʻomomi is to see the impact sea level rise will make on the land and the wedge-tailed shearwater nesting sites. This shoreline is petrified coral and sandstone in some parts and sand dune in other parts, with a very steep slope. In Kawa'aloa Bay, I can see lots of marine debris that has been stranded on the shore. There are fishing nets and other plastic fishing gear, as well as plastic bins and containers from laundry soap and things like that. Auntie Vailana said the beach is cleaner than it is at other times.
And thank God our beaches still look nice.
Yeah.
Because we pulled out over 46,000 pounds of marine debris about 4 months ago. And so it was just covered with marine debris. And it's one of the biggest problems worldwide. Like, a lot of people don't know that marine debris actually affects everything. Like, there's a trickle effect, yeah? So it affects climate change, your weather, your marine ecosystem, even down to like the food you eat.
Yeah.
So if the tiny fishes in the ocean, tiny microorganisms is eating tiny plastic, then the big fish eat those guys, and then we eat the big fish. The plastic is like affecting us, our families, our environment. So every time we get the chance to remove the marine debris, that's the best thing we can do for our environment. And also practicing reuse, reduce, and recycle.
I can see that there is a stream in the center of the sandy beach that must run when it rains.
How did the stream break through?
It runs super hard to the point where it just blasts the sand open.
Oh, wow.
You're gonna see that the sand, so the North Shore, there's a lot of big waves that come through and it pushes the sand and closes the mouth of the river off. But when it runs hard, then it'll just push right through. It's pretty neat. I mean, it's not neat when it does run because there's so much deer, and the erosion that they cause is like really bad. So you're gonna see like a big sedimentation plume. So when it runs and it busts through, this whole bay will just be red.
Like this whole.
Yeah, red and brown.
Wow.
Yeah, and it'll stay like that for a while.
Oh no.
And so that's because of the erosion happening above from the deer.
Looking behind me, I can see lots of low-growing vegetation. 85% vegetation coverage with some familiar species. I see beach naupaka, hina-hina, the silver-colored rosette, and aki-aki grass. Auntie Vailana told me that the preserve has around 22 native Hawaiian plant species. Wow, that's a lot. Some are very rare and endangered. All the species that survive here do well in salt spray, and like akoko and ena'ena, thrive in the dry, windy environment. Some native plants are aki-aki grass, pa'uohi'iaka, akoko, ena'ena, ilima, hina-hina, and naupaka.
So in Hawaii, our native plant species, we have the highest endemic rate in the world. So what that means is our endemic rate for like plant species is 90% and higher. So pretty much 90 to 95% of the native plants you see is found nowhere else on the planet.
Oh, wow.
There's some plant species that are only found in a certain area. So like we'll go see, there's a plant called ena'ena. It's this white, nice, cute plant. It's over here somewhere. We're gonna go find it. But it's called ena'ena, and it's only found at Moʻomomi, on Molokaʻi, and Kaena Point on Oahu.
Oh wow.
Nowhere else on the planet.
Auntie Vailana started to tell me about the wedge-tailed shearwaters, and I am amazed of the story.
The wedge-tailed shearwaters, they started coming into Moʻomomi in '99. So we took out the first Keawe clump in '98.
Oh wow.
3 nests showed up in '99, and then from '99 till now, there's over 2,000 nests. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna hit probably 3,000 soon. Yeah, but they just started coming back, so they start coming back in April to redig their nest. They spend their whole lives in the ocean, so they hatch, spend 7 years on the ocean, come back, find a place to nest. They find a mate and they mate for life.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which is super cool. So they come back in April, redig their nest. So this one is pretty active. We got feathers, we got tracks. I think we had poop by you. Oh. Yeah, there's some poop by you. So this one is active. They're starting to redig, and soon they'll be laying eggs.
How often do they come? Like when's their nesting season?
From April through October.
Oh, so like right now.
Yeah. So they're reuniting with their mate right now, and they'll come back to the same nest every year, redig, and then they'll have 1 egg. Yeah. And it takes 2 adults to raise a baby. Yeah. Which is super important. That's why we fence the area. We're trying to keep the cats out so they can survive and raise their baby.
Moʻomomi provides habitat for shearwaters, turtles, and sadly, cats, who are one of the shearwater birds' biggest predators. I asked what a shearwater looked like and learned that they look different at different ages. As chicks, they are very fluffy and gray. So cute! And as adults, they are large with dark feathers on the top and light feathers underneath.
Wingspan is almost 3 feet long.
Oh wow.
They're
bigger than I
they're
thought
known
it
as
would
the
be.
aku birds. So you know the bird that the fishermen chase around to look for aku? That's the bird.
Oh.
Yeah, so this bird is like really important culturally.
Wow.
So they're not like just for conservation, you know, but they're
Is it a Hawaiian
connected. Wa'ukani is a Hawaiian
I'm not
name.
gonna remember that.
Yeah, and the reason for that is it's connected to the way they sound at night.
Oh.
So if you come out with us at night, you're gonna know. It sounds like a baby crying in the ground.
Oh god.
Yeah, or like crying around. So like some people that don't know about the uaukani, they're afraid of those areas at night. They think it's ghosts, but it's
Yeah.
actually the uaukani.
That's
Yeah.
scary. Oh wow.
We saw a green sea turtle on the beach and made our way down to it to check and see if it was okay. Green sea turtles use the beach in Kawa'aloa Bay to dig nests and bury their eggs. Nesting season runs from April through September. They live all over the world, and historically, people would hunt them to eat the eggs and the meat and use the shells. In most places, they are protected now. Hawaii is a primary location for nesting, and in 2020, around 100 green sea turtle nests were observed and monitored by scientists. The green sea turtles have a very cool life cycle. As adults, they grow up to 4 feet long and weigh up to 350 pounds. and can easily live from 50 to 100 years old. They nest at night alone on the beach and dig the nest with their back flippers. Let's start their life cycle as a hatchling. Hatchlings emerge from the nest and run towards the ocean, first staying in nearshore habitats before making their way to the open ocean where they live for several years. Some scientists estimate only 1 in 1,000 survive to adulthood. When the adult females are around 20 years old, they're ready to lay eggs and head back to their nearshore home waters every 2 to 5 years to dig nests and lay eggs. In one nesting season, a female can make around 5 nests with egg clutches. The eggs incubate for about 2 months in the warm sand. Sea turtles have many threats that affect them, including being caught by mistake in fishing gear and nets. They could be hit by ships and boats out in the water. They could eat or be entangled in marine debris. Chemicals from ocean pollution could harm their health, and changing ocean and sand temperatures from climate change can impact them. One of the biggest threats to the turtles is loss of nesting habitat. Imagine if a turtle came back to nest at her home beach and found the beach was highly eroded, and no sand was left. Or even worse, what if humans had built on the coast and a seawall was built to stabilize the shore? So sad for the mama turtle. What could she do in that situation? This loss of nesting grounds is very common around the world, and that is one reason to protect sandy beaches. Here are some tips if you see a honu. Stay at least 10 feet away, avoid shining bright lights after dusk, do not touch or feed them, don't disturb their nests or dig them, and keep dogs on leashes. Honus are resilient and strong survivors, and must have great navigation to return to their home beach again and again. Moʻomomi Preserve is used for conservation purposes and as a habitat for nesting shearwaters, green sea turtles, and native Hawaiian plants. There is some evidence of erosion, and strange petrified sand tubes called root casks. Auntie Vailana explained how they were created.
So after the forest that used to be here died off, all that's left is a root cast. And the roots are huge. So there was bigger plants here before.
There are fence posts and signs to create a path for people to drive in and stay on. Fencing is important for this area to keep predators out.
Okay, so one of the things that we're doing to protect the sand dune ecosystem is we put up a fence. Because you saw all the plants that were eaten, the deer does a lot of damage to coastal ecosystems. So this fence is to keep the deer out. It's not to keep people out, it's to keep the deer out, and we're attempting to keep the cats out. And so that's the reason for the candy canes. So there's this loop so that when the cat tries to climb up the fence, it can't come up and over. But so far it's working. There's still some deer inside, but hopefully we'll get them out soon.
As sea level rises, this natural area will change. Rocks on the cliff may fall into the water and Kawa'aloa Bay will change, and the marine debris will get pulled back into the ocean. But there are no structures or areas that will be fully lost or damaged. What from the Coastal Resilience Toolbox will help Moʻomomi Preserve? For sure, dune restoration, and to continue the marine debris cleanup efforts. Luckily, this area is already preserved. I uploaded some information to our CCR field sheet on Survey 123, including a picture of us. This trip to Moʻomomi Preserve to see the coastal dunes and learn about the plants and animals has been a great adventure. I loved hearing and seeing the shearwaters in action, although they did stink a lot, like fish. Our close encounter with the honu was memorable. I really enjoyed this trip and learning from Auntie Vi. She is such an interesting person full of passion, and I appreciate how detailed she explained the shearwater birds and their burrows to me. I enjoyed picking up marine debris the most because I was never able to make it to any of the big beach cleanups. So doing our own little one made me feel happy that I was helping to malama the aino. Mahalo Nature Conservancy and Auntie Vailana for an amazing day out at Moʻomomi.
Yeah, Auntie Vailana, this has been so amazing. Thank you so much for showing me around.
Oh, thank you so much for coming, Leslie. It has been a wonderful day with you. You ready to go home?
Yeah, let's go.